Hey, welcome back. We're going to do another in our series here of the best cinematic year of a particular decade, and this time we're looking at the 70s. The 70s is my favourite decade of film. Has so many game-changing films. It's a really special decade where directors really got to see through their visions with less interference. It was very difficult to choose the year. Every year, especially between 72 and 79, had multiple great films, and many of my top films of the 70s are not even in the year I chose. I think only one of maybe even the top 10 made this particular list, but this year I chose has a little bit more breadth and depth, and I could be choosing the wrong year. There was a few years I was going back and forth on, but I'm going to stick to my guns, and we're going with 1977. So first of all, we're going to look at the Blu-rays I happen to have from that year, and then we're going to do the top 10 of 77. So first of all, we shall go with Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore's James Bond film. It's the first one that really is sort of, I think it started to come together for him in his weird, wacky comedic style. His third film overall. And has some great moments, but also has some infuriatingly cheesy sped up moments which have not aged well. But it's certainly an interesting film with an Egyptian setting, memorable villains, memorable Bond girl. Spy Who Loved Me. John Travolta makes a big splash here with Saturday Night Fever. This film could be overlooked for being, this disco film that was cashing in a disco film at the time, but it is a proper gritty New York film, well-told story, excellently acted, more than meets the eye. Mel Brooks's High Anxiety. I really love four Mel Brooks films, one being Young Frankenstein, another being Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, and High Anxiety. This one where he sort of rips on mostly Hitchcock films, but also a lot of other old film noirs and films of the time, and is very funny. Not the greatest quality Blu-ray, didn't get quite the attention of some of his other ones, but it's still an improvement over the DVD. Louis Buñuel's That Obscure Object of Desire. I think this was his last film, if memory serves, and I think it's one of his best. Top two for me, along with The Exterminating Angel. This is a nice book from Studio Canal. Ridley Scott's The Duelists. I think this is his first feature-length film, and one of his best. It's absolutely stunning. It looks a lot like Barry Lyndon. I think the look of the film took a lot of inspiration from Barry Lyndon, but I think it looks better than Barry Lyndon, and it's certainly a much more swift and interesting tale with some much better performances, and really worth checking out. This is from Shout Factory, regionally locked. But it comes with audio commentary, isolated score, and a couple of featurettes, so worth checking out. From here he went on to do Alien and Blade Runner, and so he's on quite a roll. It started here. How can we not talk about Star Wars when we're talking about 1977, a game-changing film, especially for special effects. What we have here is the DVD of the unaltered version, which wasn't done in a remastered or an anamorphic. It's the only way it's been released on disc so far. I do have the Blu-ray of the altered version, but it's really a crime against film, to be quite honest, but the original version here on DVD. A couple of weeks after Star Wars came one of the great remakes of all time, a remake of Wages of Fear, Sorcerer, directed by William Friedkin. And because of Star Wars mania, this film never really got a chance at the box office. It's finally released on Blu-ray. It looks wonderful. Great film, as is Wages of Fear, the original, but this is a fine remake starring Roy Scheider. I highly recommend. A very tense film. One of the great sports films, Paul Newman and Slapshot. Really good time to be had with this film. And I remember fondly remember seeing this on TV when I was a kid, and it still holds up today. The Oscar winner for that year was Annie Hall. Although this is, I think there are far better Woody Allen films, it's still a great film and one that you can watch over and over. Woody Allen starring alongside his long-time collaborator Diane Keaton, and worth checking out if you haven't seen it. And I did a video on this one recently. It's Audrey Rose starring Anthony Hopkins, kind of a weird Omen-esque type film about reincarnation. From Twilight Time, limited to 3,000. Okay, so now we're going to do our count down our top 10 of 1977, and we'll see you next time for our best year from the 60s.